Howdy, folks. Episode 10 of Hook Work. You know the goal. The goal is to help you guys catch more and bigger fish through proper hook selection. This episode is going to be a little bit different. Recently, we came out with a new ad. It's got a killer tagline on it. And I want to give you guys the information behind that ad because it wasn't made up by suits in a room or a big marketing department. It was earned on the water. Let's get right into it. Z, before we talk about the tagline, let's talk about your history with Trokar. What got us here?
Oh, you know, what's funny is when Wright, Eric, when my television, look, I'm like everybody else that's watching this. I'm a nutbag about hooks, and throughout growing up, I mean, just Eagle Claw is what it's weird. I talked to you about this at ICAST last year. That's my history of Eagle Claw and Wright McGill. It's like that's the hook. I remember grabbing the old snelled bluegill hooks, and I would keep them on a rack. And what was funny was I would always, Eric, I'm like every nutbag, I would keep count of how many were in there in case anybody ever touched them. And what was funny as time went on, and I really got involved in tournaments and stuff like that. I come from the world where throughout really let's call it the mid 80s all the way into the mid 90s, you would buy a pack of hooks, and generally you'd have to, do the finger test and file them right out of the package. And when Trokar came out, when Trokar was introduced, was basically like right when my tournament, I fished, I don't know, there's many tournaments. If my wife would ask me to get in a fishing tournament tonight, I'd be in a fishing tournament. That's how many I used to. But then all of a sudden, television started, and that's kind of when Trokar really took off. And the thing about Trokar was, dude, you took it out of the package. You took it out of the package to do damage. Like you didn't. I remember taking like the very, very first. The cool logo and stuff like that, and that's all well and good. But when you took it out of the package, and then I actually studied what the word Trokar meant in real world, and it's a surgical cutter. That's what that is. And then basically since the very first Zona show I've taped, that's pretty much all that's really been in my. And don't get me wrong, I'm like you, Eric. I use other hooks and test other hooks, but that's from an actual content. And boy, I need to catch them and put them in the boat. That's how my career really. So it's basically been 2 decades of Trokar. Yeah. Well,
and you look at it, Z, with your tournament history, obviously tournament coverage, but going over to the content side, you can't miss a bite. You can't, back in the tournament days, you can't miss a bite because you're just as competitive as anybody that's ever bass fished. And then going into the content, time is money. And, we were testing the TK 150 VP. We sent it to you, and the first couple of responses was, dude, it's a home wrecker. And then the first video, you said something, and throughout this whole process of making the new Trokar ad, I came up with a couple things, and I kept coming back to a line that you said that I thought perfectly embodied everything, because the point that's super sharp, it's important. Don't get me wrong, the Trokar point, basically we're stamping our logo on the point. It's different. It looks different. It performs different. But the thing is sharpness doesn't matter if you don't land them. And then you said something that hit, and it's like, that's it. I can't get away from it. What's the tagline?
Once you hook them, you own them. And it's not like it's strange, because when I've always thought that and you and I've talked about this at length. Whether you fish tournaments, you don't fish tournaments, you take fishing shows, you don't, whether you just go pond hopping, the two most important things when you get a bite are your line and that hook. And those are the two things you never ever want to worry about, like, dang it, I hope my line doesn't break, or dang do I have the right hook on for the job? And when I shot that video, that wasn't a sales pitch. When I'm shooting a show, this is no joke. I actually thought about this, Eric, because going back to our 2-hour-long conversations about hooks, I think this is no joke. I honestly think in 20 years on camera, I've only lost, like, and I'm not. This is not a back pat. This is actual, just a factual statement. And I think I've aired them. I think I've only lost like a dozen bass in 20 years.
Unbelievable.
I need to keep. Here's what I can tell you. I need to keep those odds, those numbers going, because genuinely, if I lose one when I'm taping a show and it's a critical one, I get pissed. Like, I'm in a bad mood. Thank goodness that it's only happened like 8 to 12 times, because my camera crew's the ones that have to bring me mentally back. But full circle. When you called and asked me about that tagline, when you hook them, you own them, dude. I want to think that about punching. I want to think that about flipping. I want to think that about my EWGs on my red eye shad. Every single time I make a cast, on camera, off camera, I want to know that hook has leverage over him and he doesn't have leverage over me. That was a long answer.
It's so perfect that I think we just leave it with that. You know, everybody knows how maniacal you are about gear, and when you trust us with all of your hook needs, it says something. You know, whenever we watch Show Dirt and we see it, for those of you that, you know, for the 4 people that bass fish seriously that don't already watch Show Dirt, do it. It's going to make you better. Knowing that you have that much confidence in Trokar, it means the world to us, because you put the screws to them. You put it to work, and when you hook them, you own them. Like I said, it was earned on the water. It wasn't created in a marketing department or anything like that. And Z, last thing, for a couple folks that might see this that aren't fishing Trokar, you've basically already said everything that needs to be said, but why do they need to add Trokar to their tackle box?
To not worry, period. Eric, that's the best. By the way, real quick, I noticed you wearing your big flannel. That picture was not photoshopped. I was taping on Center Hill that image was captured by a guy named Kerry Wicks. He was in the camera boat, and I was like, wow, that's a cool pic, and I sent it to you. But in a condensed answer, is the Trokar lineup. The Trokar lineup offers everything I need to accomplish every technique that I apply. Like every single style, from a monster flipping hook to a Pro V flipping hook. Like, what's the difference and stuff like that? Is every single hook in the Trokar lineup was thought out per technique. And I remember, you know, like the very first Pro V bend style hook, and a Pro V bend style hook basically is a modern day O'Shaughnessy style bend, right? Mm-hmm. And throughout my youth, and I say my youth, my early teens to 20s, I used to pour all of my own stuff. Everything I used, I made, and I would always use an O'Shaughnessy. So anyway, Trokar, and this is a really long answer to what you just asked. The cool thing has been working with Eagle Claw as a whole is when that Pro V offset came out, and then you saw, you know, the TK 137 come out and the Pro V flipping hook. The very first person I texted was you and Ryan McCullough, the national sales manager, and I said, dude, that needs to be in a drop shot hook. Like, that would be, to me, the epitome of the best drop shot hook. And don't get me wrong, we make a great drop shot hook and stuff like that, but I want that bend. So anyway, condensed answer, Trokar has a hook for everything we do as a whole.
That's perfect. Z approved for many, many years now. Guys, this gives you a little history with the ad that's going to be displayed all over, and the photo is just perfect. It has the realness that the tagline has. Everything about it is Trokar, and it's earned. Z, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
But absolutely, and honestly, Eric, I mean this. Thank you for what all of you guys do. I know that I have every single bullet in the gun packed when I'm out of the water. I never have a question, and you guys have done that for me and thousands upon millions of anglers.